So for the sidekick, the steps for it are quite simple. We twist the hips, coil the leg, and extend the leg. Very simple. Twister. And squirrels. Squirrels that are... I don't know what squirrels doing. And squirrels. Welcome to Laptop Dojo, where the strikes come from the fist, not from copyright bots. I'm Shifu Pain, and it may be strange to say it, but this channel has already been around for over a year. Now we've actually flown past the anniversary of this channel's first video, but screw it. As we're currently careening to the final months of 2021, I can't help but feel reflective. I'm not about to go on a trip and say we've accomplished great things in the past year on this little YouTube channel, yet I would like to think that I've at least given people some knowledge they didn't have before, helped to give some form of encouragement, or just made someone laugh to a terrible joke. Say now that if you are one of those that have stayed around since the very first video, or are joining us here with this video, thank you for being here. With that, let's actually talk some martial arts. Now you might be saying to yourself, hold on, why are we looking at all of this again? We looked at this in the first few weeks of this channel. Well, yes, we did. Well done on you for remembering. But if you go back to those early videos, you remember I made the analogy that learning these basics are akin to the foundations of building a house. But the crucial thing to remember is that if you don't maintain those foundations, one day that very house could just cave in on you without warning. So with that being said, today this video is all about maintenance. As we go over those basics again, we maintain our foundations. We practice those basics and we make sure we have them right before we move forward with anything more advanced or complicated. And that all begins by going over the basic punch. Now sure, we're doing a redo of the basics, but I mean, come on, who doesn't know how to throw a punch? Face meets fist, right? It's very simple. Well, you would think that, but actually there's a bit more nuance to it. What do I mean by that? Let's take a look. The first step to a basic punch is just having the right sort of stance. So, because you can't just stand there and just go like this with just feet like this. It's not gonna happen. So if I pan out to show you my footwork, see, you just stand like this. Obviously that's not going to go anywhere. A stronger foundation leads to a stronger punch. Okay, so we have this, and what we called before the L formation. Here you see how my front foot is forward like that, my side foot is like this at the back, creates an L, you see? And it's the same if I'm like this. So if you throw a punch with an improper foundation, you're just going to wind up throwing yourself off balance, and then that's just going to be a fucking mess. So we've got the foundation out of the way. The next step is actually what you may not think. So you would think with a punch that all the power comes from the arm. Not true. The power actually comes from the hips. That's where the power comes from. It's not just the arms. You're putting the whole body behind that motion. So, you need good stance work. You're turning the hips as you go. What else do you need? Well, you also need to keep your wrist straight, because you're putting a lot of force behind your fist when you're throwing that punch. Because you're putting a lot of force behind that fist, and if your fist is off kilter, is not aligned properly when you throw that fist, when you throw that punch, then if I just show you, that's just a piece of shit. So we've got those first three steps. We've got footwork, turning the hips, and straighten the fist, and straighten the wrist. But the last thing is about following through, because you can't just have your fist stop at the target. No. You need to remember to follow through, which is why it's commonly recommended that you don't aim for the target itself. You don't stop at the target, you actually aim behind the target. So you imagine that if you're punching someone in the face, that you're punching someone's face behind that face, okay? So you're following through and not punching at the target, but behind the target, okay? So next up is the palm strike, and the steps for the palm strike at first may seem the same to the basic punch. So it's the same sort of thing of having good foundations of footwork, turning the hips, and following through. But where it differs is keeping the wrist straight, because you can't exactly keep your wrist straight when your palm's like that. That's not very straight at all. No, so because we have the palm like this, then how are you supposed to be less likely to injure yourself? Well, that all comes in where with the actual palm you strike. So, and again, as a quick question, where would you say you would strike with the palm? Would it be closer to the fingers? Would it be around the middle? No.
be actually more recommended to go closer to the end of the palm, so closer to the wrist, because then you would have the whole arm and the rest of the body behind the motion, having that support and having that force. And if you were closer to the fingers, closer to the middle, then you're gonna send your hand back, bend it out of place, and then you've gone and injured yourself, and then that's not good for anyone, is it? So next up we have the front kick. So how would we classify the front kick? Well, I would call it the abbreviated term of taking an aggressive step. So start off the front kick, bring up the leg, and then as we say, we take an aggressive step. So it's that motion of up, around, and down. Okay, so all the movement of it comes from the core, from the abdominals. That's where all the force and the power comes from. Not from the hip this time, but from the abdominals and from the core. At a beginner level, what we'll do is bring our arms up, okay, to have more of that, to practice having more of that force and having more of that motion of using the abdominals. So we'll use a cheat of using the arms more, right? But as we get more experience with the front kick, what you want to do is train yourself to get away from using the arms and engaging the core a bit more, and engaging the abdominals. No, using the arms less, because bringing the arms up like that, that's telegraphing. You're telegraphing what you're doing, and then someone will be able to see, oh, okay, probably going into a front kick. Okay, better get to dodge away from a front kick. So you get my point. And next up we come to the side kick. Now we looked at the side kick before, quite a few times actually, so I won't go into as much detail as I may have with others, but it's still important to reintroduce it and make sure to keep it nice and maintained. So for the side kick, the steps for it are quite simple. We twist the hips, coil the leg, and extend the leg. Very simple. Twister. And squirrels. And squirrels. We start off, twist the hip, like so, coil the leg, and extend the leg. So if I do it slowly at first, like that, okay? Okay, so twist the hip, coil, extend. Now there is a variation of the side kick to build up more power and build up more force, where you add a step in before that twisting. Okay, so you step, twist, coil, extend. So you add a step into it. So you go like so. Okay, so that's the side kick, and because we practiced it on many an occasion, and we all know what the side kick is, I'm going to add in a little exercise for you guys. That's right, I'm giving you homework. So, basically, all I want you guys to do is, when you're practicing the side kick, instead of chambering the leg immediately after you've thrown the kick, what I want you guys to do is to hold that leg elevated in midair after throwing the kick, okay? Because this will actually cause you to engage your core more, practice your balance, and engage that thigh muscle. And so we come to the last exercise we're going to be taking a look at for this session, by taking a look at the roundhouse kick. Now the roundhouse kick, it's kind of similar to the side kick in terms of some of the steps, but it's a bit different in terms of other steps. Let's take a look. So we're going to start off with the same sort of motion of twisting the hip. Okay, but instead of coiling the leg, we're going to raise the leg up and then extend it. So if I do it at full speed, like that. And what I did there, that goes back to that idea of following through, which we looked at with the basic punch. So it's the idea again of following through. And if you look at it in terms of, I'll get a bit closer to you guys, a bit more intimate. So if you look at it in terms of the shaping, what we want to do is create an arch with our leg as we kick. So it goes up and back down, creating that arch. So we'll go again, I'll throw it again. And then we'll do it again with the other leg. Okay, so it's that following through. So up and down. So that's one form of the following through, like that. Or there's the other way of where you turn completely to go the other side. Or if I visualize it. And that brings us to the end of this reintroduction to our basic techniques.
Now remember, we're all about maintenance here. We don't want those foundations to falter. Next time, we'll be taking a look at a new form from Northern Shaolin. But until then, thank you all for watching, and until next time, everyone, peace be with you.